I think it changes every year or two, but right now I'm using a piano called, that's horrible, now I can't remember what it's called. Native Instruments acoustic with a K. I can't remember exactly. I think it's called Acoustics.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. I've been using that one for the last 6 months. Before that, I just had a Steinway Studio piano plug-in of some kind of I used. It was actually the ESX that I used. I used that for probably 3 or 4 years as my favorite, with a Lexicon 480L plug-in reverb on it.
Do you think it's more in the effects when it comes to pianos and stuff like that?
No, I think the effects, I pretty much generally use the same effects. The effects in the plugins themselves, I tend not to use as much. Just a little bit of room, you know, and I kind of tinker with the pedal noise or the release or the sustain, the damper. But for me, it's just getting that really good sample of the piano and make sure that the ranges are uniquely individually sampled. Because like a lot of times I'll just take it, stretch it over bigger octaves. And a lot of the samples that we're using, you're probably doing the same thing. Each note is individual. So, I mean, the stuff has come so far, it doesn't a lot of times make sense to use a real piano.
Right.
Like we had Greg Fillinganes the other day come in and play piano on something. He's one of the baddest piano players ever. And we're like, just play it on the computer because it sounds better, it's easier, we can manipulate it. If we want to try and tinker with the sound, we can. Whereas if we did it on a live piano, you're married to that sound. You can maybe EQ it a little bit. But with these plugins, the acoustics deal, that thing is so powerful and you can do so many different things with it. We tend to use that most of the time.
Question.
Yes?
You have any tips on that snap, crackle, pop of that snare and that knock of that kick there? It was like, did you sample those from like your MPC and now you use them in Logic or?
I sample sounds from our own records a lot and we go back and get old sounds and layer on top. And so now our catalog of sounds is so weird because you know, we've got a kick that we might have used in 2002 and we added 2 more kicks to it to make it this, and we've EQ'd it, we've compressed it, and then we've resampled it. So it's really a matter of collecting sounds over the years. And as a young producer, the trick is to listen intently to the radio and listen to the songs that sound incredible. You know, some of the crazy sounding songs right now are like, and I'm not saying I love the songs or the artist or the genre even, but some of this dance music like Pitbull stuff and some of these other songs just jump out of the radio. Even some of the Katy Perry mixes, like you listen to them and the songs come out of the radio so loud and so crispy and so hot that I tend to listen to a lot of songs when I'm both creating and mixing. So as a young producer or someone who's coming up, that's big advice for me, is listen to the songs that sound great on the radio and just totally A/B them. With Pro Tools, you can put a Katy Perry mix in on 2 tracks, and then you can put your mix on 2 tracks underneath it, and just toggle back and forth. I still do that all the time, and I'm like, that kick doesn't sound as good as that kick. Let me keep working. Let me add another one. Do I need more low end? Do I need less low end? But as far as individual tricks per drums, I use a lot of, you know, sub-harmonic boost stuff on my kicks. One of the easiest cheats ever is a plugin called Sausage Fattener.
I think I saw it on YouTube one time. Try it.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a funny name.
That's 3 AM on the 6 online.
So that's that. Maserati, it makes good line of plugins for drums, which I use a lot.
That's the Waves, right?
Yeah, that's Waves. Snares and sticks and stuff, I tend to mix those with vocals at the same time, but I always, because you don't want the snare and the stick to interfere with the vocal, so I kind of try and find a frequency that's not offensive to the vocal, but really, really loud. You know, I like the stick and the snare to be right in your face, and 90% of the time it's bone dry, no reverb, a lot of compression.
Right.
You know, I use the SSL compressors a lot for snares and sticks. A lot of 808 stuff behind sounds. Like if you have a cool snare, you put that real hard 808 snare with it, kind of tucked behind it, EQ'd just right. Sometimes that'll add a really, really good bite to it. You know, good old cross sticks are always fun to add into something because it just it hurts, you know, when you turn it up really loud. That's right.
The SSL compressor, that's the Duende?
The what?
The Winday SSL?
Oh, I don't know. It's just,
Okay.
it's in the Waves bundle.
Okay.
It's
All right,
SSL, they have the stereo compressor, and then they also have the channel strip. And then in
Okay.
that channel strip, it has the SSL compressor.
Okay, cool, the XCOM thing. All right, cool,
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Yep, I use that a ton. A lot of high mids on that stuff, and which is weird because a lot of times I'll go back and I'll sample a cross stick or a snare from another record that we have, and I'll pull it into my session, and for some reason I'll still add more mids and more highs to it, just always piling more harshness onto
So
it. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's funny, I played a record one time for Jimmy Iovine, who's the president of Interscope Records. This is maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and he's weird and crazy and like quirky, but he's really smart and he really knows hit records, and his ears are incredible. And he told me like 5 years ago, I played him a really cool pop, like R&B kind of song, and he's like, those drums are passive, they're horrible, they're soft, they're boring. And I mean, I don't think my drums are good already, but he said, listen to this. And he started playing me all this weird EDM stuff, this electronic music, the dance stuff. And he said, listen to how urgent these drums sound. Listen to how intense they are. Listen how,
Right.
and he said, all this other stuff is going away. He said, even in pop and R&B and hip hop music, if your drums aren't that energetic and exciting, you're gonna lose. And that was like 5 years ago.
Wow.
I thought he was crazy. I was like, that's cocaine music, you know.
Well, not really. Major Lazer is like world ranking.
That stuff is on the radio everywhere right now.
Right.
Sure did. I didn't turn up the music, did that song. I was like, let me get some of that.
Right.
Jimmy was way ahead of everybody with the drums on.
Wow, 5 years.